Katy. How are you?
Hey, good, Jessica. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Wanted to just chat with you for a few minutes just to kind of educate the public about the way that our business has changed. Obviously, I think everybody's lives have changed in one way or another, but I think the way that we do business has changed a little bit, and there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I thought maybe we could help kind of clear that up. So why don't you tell everybody your full name and the company that you work with?
Yeah, I'm Katy Kirby. I'm with Bank South Mortgage. I do residential mortgages, and it's definitely changing right now. It's kind of changing every day. So there's a lot of misinformation going on, a lot of theories, and so hopefully we can clear some of that up today.
Yeah, I hope so too. So I know one of the things I've had several buyers just they want to know, I guess, what is the process now? I think a lot of people like that face-to-face interaction. They're used to going into either the bank or your office or wherever and meeting with you face-to-face and kind of going over things. So if somebody is in a position to where they don't want to wait or they can't wait, because realistically some people have to still buy and sell right now, what does that process look like for them?
Yeah, so they can definitely call me. We can do applications over the phone. We can do them over the internet. We don't have to meet in person. We could do a Zoom meeting if they wanted to. All documentation can be sent via email or fax. If they needed to drop it off with us or something, we could do that. Most of the time frames now are taking about 30 to 45 days from kind of the start of application to the time somebody closes. Things are taking a little bit longer just because appraisals are taking longer, title work is taking longer to get stuff in. So there's a little bit of a delay, but doing things over the internet is very easy for everybody. So it's not a problem there. People can still purchase. They do not have to come into an office to see us.
Okay. What about, and I'm kind of jumping around on my list of questions, but I know this is one, and I think I'm sure you've seen it too. Everybody thinks like interest rates are bottomed out, like zeros, and I've even had to have the conversation with people to know that's not how it works. But, what could what is a buyer looking at right now? Because that's another thing we've heard about is that the qualifications have gotten tougher. Like, what are you looking at on like a minimum credit score, and what are the interest rates right now?
Yeah, so rates are still, depending if you're refinancing or buying, they can be in the high 2s, low 3s. They can go up higher if you're getting a lower credit score, but when you start getting under 680, the qualifications are getting tougher. We're hoping that'll change here soon. Maybe this is just temporary. I don't think this is going to be something long term, but for right now, the qualifications are tougher. They're a little bit stricter with your debt to income ratio when they go to qualify you. And some of the rates are higher than they normally would be if you have a lower credit score. And some investors aren't accepting lower credit scores at all. So you will see some challenges out there.
Is 680 kind of the lowest that you're kind of would be looking at, probably?
For most government programs, yes. For your FHA, your USDAs, you're going to be around a 680.
Okay, that makes sense. So when someone is looking, and you're talking about debt to income ratios, and let's just say you have a borrower that they're not really sure, like, how do they know? I mean, obviously, besides getting a pre-qualification from you or someone like you, how do they know? How can they sort of determine what they can afford for a mortgage payment and a purchase price? Delusion.
Ask me how much they should be qualified for. Can you hear me?
Oh, yep, I got you back.
Okay.
Yes, I was trying to help people figure out. A lot of times, I think people think they either cannot get as much as they can, or they can't. It's usually one way or the other. So, what is a good sort of hard and fast rule for people to be able to sort of figure that without going to that? Obviously, we want them to get pre-qualified with you or someone like you, but how do they sort of just doing the preliminary work? Let's just say they're at home and they got a lot of extra time on their hands like the rest of us do right now. And they're like, okay, I think that once this is all over, I might want to be ready to purchase. What would be the things that they would need to do, and how can they sort of figure, what they would be able to qualify for?
Well, something I always tell people is, you know your budget better than I do. I'll pull your credit report and see the debts on your credit report, but you know what debts you have that I don't see. So what I say is whatever you think you can afford for a mortgage payment, go ahead and start putting that in your savings account every month. Go ahead and budget for that. And then whenever I go to pre-qualify you, I'm going to pull your credit report. I'm going to look at all of your debts. I'm going to compare that to your gross monthly income. So your amount before taxes, insurance, and all that stuff is taken out. And I'm going to get a ratio in there. And typically the 40%, can you hear me, Jessica? My dogs are barking like crazy.
Yeah, I
We
hear
might have to
you.
do this. Hold on a second. Let me go get them.
Right. So go back over what it is that they would need from you in order to do that pre-qualification.
Yeah, so we're going to need your last 2 years personal tax returns, federal, and then we're going to need your W-2s for the last 2 years, or any 1099s you might have, and of course your last 30 days pay stubs and most recent 60 days worth of bank statements.
Okay. Okay.
And that's the main step we'll start with for the pre-qualification. Once we get all of that, we might require more information, but those are the things to start us off.
To get up front. So in talking about pre-qualification, what exactly is the difference between being pre-qualified and being pre-approved? Can you explain that?
Pre-qualified is really when we just go off of your stated information and we're saying basically off of what you're telling us, you should be pre-qualified, you're pre-approved. But we don't know if you're actually pre-approved until we get all of that documentation in and review everything. Once we review your documentation and it matches with what you told us, then you're pre-approved.
So if someone were to say, would there be any reason why they couldn't go ahead and even, let's just say they don't want to get out until everything kind of goes back to normal, that they could go ahead and get that information to you, go ahead and you get them verified, get all that paperwork that everybody hates to do because it's so time consuming. Is there any reason why they couldn't go ahead? Do they have to be locked in once you get them all that documentation, or how does that work?
No, they can definitely go ahead and get us all that documentation. We can get them pre-approved, and they have 120 days.
Okay.
So we have a thing where they can lock their rate and shop for 30 days, but they don't have to.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's good, because I'm just thinking if people are even thinking about it, while they've got, if they have extra time on their hands, this definitely would be a good time to do that. And then I think like my last question, and I hear this a lot from people, and we may have really already addressed it in the beginning, but can I get a mortgage with a low or no credit score? And I think we really actually already talked about that right now, because the regulations have become tighter. But what would you suggest? Would you suggest them going ahead and talking to you anyway, just so you can kind of see, what their credit history looks like?
Yeah, definitely. If they talk to us, sometimes there's fairly quick fixes to where we can get their credit score up to where they need to be. Or at least if they're not quick fixes, we can give them a list of things they need to do to get their score up that they can be working on. So having us look at it, it's always free. It just takes a few minutes, and we're happy to go through and look at those things for them, give them some tips.
Okay, perfect. Well, I think that's it then. I won't make this too terribly long. I just wanted to kind of hit the high notes on, several questions that I know that I've been asked, and we may get some more detailed questions after I post this, and if we do, we can always jump back on another call. But I figured it was probably a good idea to let the public see that we are still working. It looks a little different than normal, but we're still working. We're still answering our phones. We're still here to help, even if you're not ready to move immediately. But, once start rolling things, once the economy starts rolling again and you're able to make some decisions. So I will make sure to put your contact information in here, Katy, so they can contact you. And then anything else you can think of?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, just put my phone number out there, and anybody can call me if they've got any questions. I'm happy to go over it with them.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, you have a good rest of your afternoon. I'll talk with you later.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.
Okay. Bye.